is Paul. Yes. I was reading this about Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yeah. It looks like he had two terms. In his second term, Roosevelt tried to change the Supreme Court. The court had ruled against the NRA, yes, the AAA, and many other New Deal measures as unconstitutional because six of the nine judges were over 70 years old. He wanted to add another judge for each who did not retire within 6 months of his 70th birthday. FDR wanted to be able to add enough justices to balance those who voted against his administration's legislation. Now, I'm sure it was difficult during World War II, and well, what would they call it, a depression? Yes. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected to office. Yeah. Well, sometime in the 14 enters politics. Yes. Returns to politics. Yes. 1933 to 1945. Yeah. Um, ooh, that does seem like a long time. I don't think he was in office 12 years. Great Depression took place in October 1929. Roosevelt campaigned in 34 states. His optimism, personal charm, and radio voice made a strong appeal. Some people have said that I have a radio voice. If you ever get a phone call from me, I sound like one of these DJs on the radio. Yeah, and I just have one of those voices. In fact, could you get me the radio? Maybe KONP and KISM and all the radio antennas everywhere in the nation. It seemed that somebody was using radio to kind of sew in. Yes. And I thought that radio was for listening to. Yes. Instead of using it to be on one another. Yeah. Now, maybe Squim Washington has a radio station. In fact, I had known an individual. Yes. I was going to Kingsway Foursquare Church, and I was a volunteer at the church when I was living in the fifth wheel. Must have been of September of 2012. My wife had adopted my sons. Yes. Well, there was this old guy there. He was balded, and I think he was in his 80s. He had 10,000 songs from his generation. Well, I went over to his mobile home. He lived in a mobile home park. Poop. And we had a nice long talk, himself and myself, about what it was like during the time that he grew up. Probably in the 30s and 40s. I mean, I'm just guesstimating his age and when it was that he was born. But I remember him telling me that he had a wife that was somewhat of a pack rat. And she just wouldn't get rid of stuff. You ever seen those hoarders that have just tons and tons of shit and you just wonder, well, what do you keep all that for? Well, the relationship didn't end well because he got tired of all the stuff that she kept packing into the rooms. Little pack rat. Pow! Now, Roosevelt took the oath of office on March 4th of 1933. Business industry in the United States had come to almost to a stop. At least 113 million wage earners were without work. And 5 million families depended on charity, these homeless individuals during the Great Depression. You know, in some ways, I feel like the Great Depression, 1933, the United States of America, pooch, where I informed law enforcement of a crime and they decide to send a librarian in. You know, for the idiot fucks that think that homelessness is, oh, it's his fault. Yes. You know, the Great Depression did happen, and there was a president named Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yes. Now, I'm going to want the radio stations today, okay? And every employee of all the radio stations that thought, well, I'll just charge myself up, I can jump right through right now. Because I was listening to myself this morning. Usually I erase the SD card that I use in the phone. Yeah. But I decided to listen to myself and see if I was being loud. Yeah. I thought I was just talking in a normal voice. Yes. In fact, I think yesterday, yes, while in the study room, it was really more of a quiet video making session that I had with myself. Yeah. I really wasn't that loud, and I thought somebody isn't intentionally trying to irritate me. Yes, they are! Now I'm gonna want the radio motherfucking station!